part 2. Let's get it. Hydrate. I'm thirsty, guy. Okay. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mwangi and I make college related content. So this is part 2 of my SAT video. So if you haven't watched part 1, okay, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to try and do the thingy where it appears up there in like a black line, but if it doesn't work out, it's going to be a link in the description box. You can just go over there and watch it. Cool, let's actually like start, because this is going to be like a 1-hour video. Number 1, this is like my advice stroke tips stroke tricks stroke things I learned along the way that I think could be helpful to you guys. Number 1, practice tests are key, my friends. Practice test, okay? Practice. There are over like 50 tests available in the world for SATs from March 2016. You have 10 free of them on collegeboard. You can find another 10 through like the shady websites. You can find like 2 through Khan Academy. Please do practice tests. The more you do the test, the more you understand how collegeboard thinks. That's how you should think, okay? More tests also means that you're comfortable with the exam. Thus you're less likely to panic when taking the exam, because panicking wastes your time and you don't have time in the SAT to panic, okay? I did over 40 tests personally, okay? So I got a lot of them from the internet and from books, like the 10 collegeboard ones. And yeah. Number 2, always time yourself when taking a test. So section 1 is the comprehension and it takes 65 minutes. Section 2 is grammar, 35 minutes. Section 3 is 20 minutes. Section 4 is, I think, 55 minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong, something like that. So always time yourself. Let me tell you, when you're taking that test, when they say stop, if you don't drop your pencil like it's on fire, your test is cancelled. No cap. Unless you have it's cancelled. So always time yourself. So never take a test without timing yourself. If you have 30 minutes, do the section that can last that 30 minutes. Do a section 3. Don't do half a section and then say you'll do it later. Train yourself. Sawa, train yourself. Number 3, speed rounds. So what is a speed round? Speed rounds is for passages, yeah? Specifically, giving an example for the passages in section 1, you time yourself per passage. So you have 65 minutes, 5 passages, that's 13 minutes per passage. Oh my god, 13 minutes per passage. So what you do is time 13 minutes, do a passage. 13 minutes over, stop, move to the next one. And as time continues, reduce the time. Do 12 minutes, do 10 minutes, do 11 minutes. I reached a point I could do a passage in about like 9 minutes maybe, so that you have like being ahead of time in the SAT. I don't know if that makes sense. It's very comforting and it will make you not panic. Sawa. You can also do this for math. Like instead of 20 minutes, give yourself 17 minutes, give yourself 16 minutes, give yourself 15 minutes. You don't realize how long a minute is until it's been taken away from you when you're in the middle of doing a calculation. Number 4, if you spend more than 1 minute on a question, my friend, skip it. You don't know. Look, there are 2 options here. If you spend more than 1 minute on a question, either you leave it blank, then you'll come back to it later, which is risky because who knows if you'll have time at the end. Number 2, which is my favorite trick, okay? This is it. Guess. I'm so serious. Educated guessing, making an educated guess is one of the best tools that I use when taking a test. Most of the time, you know the way you feel like an answer is right? The answer is usually that one. Just pick it, then you can put like a star, then you'll come back later and if you have time to go over it. And often you'll find that when you change the answer to B, when you originally wrote A, the answer is actually A, and then you hate yourself because you got 770 instead of getting 800. So if you spend more than 1 minute, skip it. If you don't know, imagine you don't know and accept you don't know and move on. Go and do the ones that you know, because that 3 minutes you'll spend on that question, you could have answered 5 other questions, thus getting a higher score. So sacrifice that 1 question, go and get 5 others right. Sawa. Number 5, have a strategy for each section. Sawa. So what do I mean? In reading, which is section 1, There are multiple strategies you could have. You could be the person who reads the whole passage, then answers the question. You could answer the questions as you read the passage. You could skim the passage, then answer the questions. Those, I think, are the three most common ones that I know of. So most people do strategy one. You read the whole passage and you answer the questions. That's great, but remember, you should always spend more time on the questions than on the passage. If you're the type of person who prefers to answer the questions first as you read the passage, you can do that strategy. What you do is, you see those questions that have lines in brackets, or the ones that are like vocabulary, what does the word this in line 14 mean? Do those questions first, especially the ones where evidence-based questions, I think, something like that, where they give you the lines in the choices. You see, by the time you've read through all those lines, you've read like half the passage or quarter the passage, and there are usually like 3 of those questions. So by the time you've done those ones, you've read a good chunk of the passage and you have an idea of what's going on. Then after that, you can go to like the first questions that ask more general ideas. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So make sure you have a specific strategy that you will use in reading. For grammar, this is what I'll tell you about strategy. Read everything. Don't read only the parts that are underlined, because the questions that ask you, for example, add or delete, should the writer change this or leave it the way they are, they need you to have context. They need you to have background information that you won't have if you don't read the passages, the part of the passage that's not underlined. So for grammar, please read every single word in the grammar section. Otherwise, there are some questions that will you will suffer a bit. For math, I don't have a specific strategy, though what I would say for math and also for all the other sections, you don't have to answer the questions in chronological order. Like if you're doing section 3 and you prefer starting from number, I think 20 or like 25, if you prefer starting from number 25 instead of starting from number 1, do you boo, okay? If you want to start from number 15 because your birthday is on the 15th, start from number 15th. No one is going to ask you. If you want to start from the last passage instead of the first passage, go ahead. Also, by the way, for the passages, you can pick the order of passages you want to do. Personally, I strongly hated history passages where some white guy is talking to some other white guy from 1659 about how women shouldn't have rights. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to understand thou hasteth agreeth to the declarationeth of thy mountaineth heathen. Like, me, I hated history passages. On the other hand, I liked the first passages, the ones that are like a romance fiction. Oh my god, those passages were the best. It's always about some lady who has a husband, who the mother doesn't like the husband. No, the mother doesn't like the wife, but then the girlfriend has a daughter with the mother's brother, and there's like a son, and then the village hates them. Those passages were always amazing. They're like the romance, what are they called? Oh my god, literature. Children, what? Literature passages, love it. I also hated the ones for NASA. Hubble telescopes, candles, by the time you see the star, it's 1,000 million light years away, so it's in the past, but it's the future of the present. But I used to get everything right in those passages because the science passages are very easy to extract information from. Like, they give you facts, and to answer the question, you just need to extract those facts. So I don't know what I was trying to say here by going into a whole rant about passages, but pick the passages that you like, and you can start with them if you want. If you feel like starting with the bad ones, start with the bad ones, and with the good ones. No one is going to ask you. Next, number 6 or 7, siko sure, my friends, or number 6 should have been in section 2, read everything, but I've already said that. So that's number 6, section 2, grammar, read everything. Number 7, try and get comfortable with the answer sheets. So answer sheets, look how watching it tough with the answer sheets. I'll often Rudy. Okay, I found my answer sheets. Okay, this one I got 1520. It didn't look good. So this is how an answer sheet looks. Lol, why is it broken? It's ripped. What? In the bubble wrap? So this is how an answer sheet looks. It has like dots where you shade in. Let's try and see if it will focus. I don't know. But you kind of shade in In the actual exam, they're much smaller, but they look something like this. So I would advise you to download an answer sheet from the internet. It's free. Print it out and use it, because there are some parts like in math where I don't know if this will actually see. You have like these two boxes where you need to write in, and what you write aligns with the boxes. So you need to read those rules so that you familiarize yourself with an answer sheet. Yes, so try and get comfortable using answer sheets. Number 8, usually shorter is better, both in grammar and in math. What do I mean? In grammar, there are usually those questions where they ask you like, John is walking, running to the street. John is walking, running, and stomping to the road. John walked, ran, stamped, ran to the road. That was a very bad example. But usually, the answer is John is walking to the road. On the road. What? John is walking. The shorter, the better, usually in grammar. In math, this is very important for my 844 people. Are you listening? This thing of writing a calculation 2 pages, we don't care. The SAT doesn't care. You don't have time to calculate everything. If you're going to write out 0.01 times 10 equals to 1 over 100 times 10, cancel equals to 1 over 10 equals to 0.1. Stop wasting time. Math calculations, the shorter the better. If you can do it in your head with accuracy, that's even better. Sawa. Even for reading, so for reading, my 844 people, you'll struggle. That strategy for underlining, reading twice, underline, into paragraph 2, line 6. You don't have time, my friend. Read the passage quickly. Skim the passage. You don't have to understand everything that goes on in a passage. I never used to understand anything in those NASA passages. I don't know why I just did that. I never used to understand anything in those NASA passages, but I used to get them right, you know, not like trying to toot my own horn or anything. But this mentality for trying to understand everything, for trying to do everything, for trying to read everything, every word, except in section 2, forget it. Shorter is better, less time it takes is better. So these 2 points that I'm going to say are probably the most important ones, and I don't know why I put them at the end, at relative end. Please listen. You need to understand how College Board thinks so that you can think like that. So this is something I think I've said before. I don't think people who get like high scores are particularly smarter than their peers. I don't think that of myself. I just think I learned at a very early age that to pass an exam, you need to finesse the system. So I learned how to finesse the system. So you need to understand how to finesse College Board. College Board. Sawa. College Board is the exam board. So the SAT is objective and not subjective. What do I mean by using these big words, you may ask? So it means that objective means, okay, let me say subjective. Subjective means your own interpretation. Like, if I look, subjective means like your interpretation of something. The SAT does not care 1 cent about what you think. They don't care. They want you to read a passage and extract information from the passage. Whether you agree with the passage, they don't care. Whether you understand the passage, they don't care. Whether you know the passage, they don't care. All they care about is that the author said women should have rights. Question. The author of the na was agreeing with the statement. Which do you think is correct? A, women should have rights. B, women should not have rights. C, women should have health care. D, women should have rights and health care. The answer is A, women should have rights. You literally just took it, not the best example, but that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to read something here. Remove all emotion when you're reading a passage and taking the SAT, and deal with facts. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with whatever a passage is saying. What matters is that you can extract the thesis of the passage or the main argument of the passage and answer questions on it. So the SAT is all about fact. And this ties to the next point, is that they don't want your opinions. They want you to deduce the writer's opinion. And I say this very passionately, because it's something I believe in. Like, your opinion really doesn't matter. Whether you think women should have rights, whether you think women should not have rights, whether you think women should have healthcare, whether you think women should not have healthcare, they don't care. Okay? All they care is that they know that the author knows women should have rights. if you've ever read that women's suffrage passage for October 2019, I would like a DM explaining to me what that passage meant, because personally I've been emotionally scarred forever by the women's suffrage movement. Moving on. So in reading, resist the temptation to analyze the passage. Don't do any analysis in the SAT. Don't underline a passage and think, the author is trying to say, nope, 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 nope. What has the author said? That's the answer. SAT, like facts. Like this was something very hard for me, because I was that person for underline paragraph 6, line 62. The author analyzes that what? Nope, not in the SAT. So those 2 points. The SAT is objective, not subjective. They don't want your opinion, they want facts. So number 11, learn all the grammar rules. So grammar, I don't like grammar personally. Why is the plural of like book big? Wait, what? Why is the plural of goose geese but book is not big? No. Why? Why do I say infinite but finite? Literally I added an in. Infinite, finite, finity. Anyway, I don't understand English personally. So what I did, honestly, you see, grammar, I just sat down and wrote a rule of grammar rules. If you have to go to English 8 class 5, please don't be embarrassed. I didn't know what the heck subject verb agreement is, so I went to English 8 class 5 that I borrowed from my youngest sister. Don't be embarrassed, okay? Here it's a safe space. If you don't remember what a possessive pronoun is, just go and ask your sister, your brother, your nanny, just, okay? We are not judging here. You just, personally, I wrote a list of grammar rules. Kama if it was punctuation, how to use a comma, how to use a full stop, how to use a colon, how to use a dash. Kama it's pronouns, all the pronouns. Kama it's verbs, all the verbs. Kama it's active voice, passive voice. I just wrote it all down, memorized it, period. You just need to run. Grammar is all about rules, and if you learn the rules, so you've learned grammar, period. Next, learn all the math topics. So write a list of math topics from pre-algebra to calculus that you need to know, and know them. It's that simple. It's not that simple, but so this is what I did, and it was very helpful. I wrote down a list. I can't find the list. I've tried looking for these things. Pre-algebra, algebra 1, trigonometry 2, pre-calculus, calculus 1, volume, area, surface area, I'm trying to think what topics in the CT. Linear functions, quadratic functions, factoring, like that. Sawa. Break down each topic so that you don't feel overwhelmed, like you need to know so much. You don't actually need to know that much, and if you did 844 and like A levels, there shouldn't be that much that's new. There will be a couple of things, like I think complex numbers for 844 people. Complex numbers is something relatively new to you, unless you did like Olympiad and you know all those kudos. But yes, having a list of topics that is manageable, that has been broken down, will be very helpful throughout the process. Next, I think this is number 13. This is a hot take, okay? Hot take coming up. Don't use the calculator. Okay, when you're doing math, like just don't use the calculator, or rather use it as little as possible. Look, the calculator is wasting your time. You have 0.1 times 10, 0.1 plus 10, oops, 0.1 minus 10, oops, 0.1 equals oops, 0.1 divide oops, 0.1 divide oops, bracket into bracket 0.1 divide oops. You wasted like literally 3 minutes, and trust me, I do 0.1 times 10 in the calculator just to confirm it's 1, just to confirm, okay? I'm smart. I am, sorry, but the calculator is wasting your time, honestly. In section 4, you don't need the calculator except for like 2 questions. Trust me, that question for either average or like mean or median, that's where you need the calculator. But 99% of the questions, you don't need the calculator. It's a trap and it's wasting your time. That's a hot take. Fight me. I'm joking. Use the calculator if you want. Moving on. Next. Number 14. Dang, this video is going to be long. Be confident in your answers. So what I mean is, okay, number 1 is literally the hardest question. I swear to God. Number 1, you've just started the test, you're not sure, you're feeling a bit shaky. I used to do number 1 like 3 times. Sis, bro, be confident in yourself. Do number 1 quickly, hey, quickly, and move on. Also, in situations where you're feeling like it's A or it's B, the one you felt of, usually the one you thought of first is correct. Not all the time, but usually. And you need to be confident in your answer, even though it's wrong. Be confident in your wrongness, and write A and move on. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time. Being confident in your answers will give you the ability to move quickly throughout the test, because you don't have time to waste. You need to write, leave it, move on. The minute you answer a question, just forget it, move on. You know, unless the question is related to the next question. But leave it, answer it, move on. Sawa. Number 15. Okay, so all this is like a hack. Aim to get above like 650 in the first part, like the verbal part. Aim to get above 650 or 700 so that you don't have to take those English tests. Like TOEFL, IELTS, Nasri what. It depends on the school though. I know a school like Columbia that's very literature centric. You need like 700. I know Cornell is like 650. So check the school that you're applying to. They usually waive English requirements for international students if you get above 700. That's just a hack. Number 16, keep track of your test scores over time. So I told you I have my answer sheets here. I told you guys I did many tests. I wasn't joking. These are all my answer sheets. Let me look for, okay, so this is a test. I got 1380. Dang. Okay, this is a test. I keep them, I mark them, so I don't know if you can see, like each section is marked. And furthermore, each section I've done analysis at the bottom. Like I've written out words that I should know. I've sectioned the passages so that I can see how many questions I got right stroke wrong in each passage. I usually comment like careless, didn't know, or like here in math you can see I have down there careless. I have over here in the grammar things I should know, rules I should know. Yeah, like analyze the passage, the difference between confer with, confer to, confer on, confer upon. You know, why are all those different things? Write out, analyze your paper. Look, there's no point of doing a paper if you don't mark it and analyze it. You need to mark it, analyze it so that you figure out what you got wrong and figure out how to do it right next time. So just wanted, I got 1400 on this test. Can you all see? It's not always smooth sailing. Like someone will be like, oh my god, 1400 and she thinks it's a bad mark. Yes, I think it's a bad mark. Academics is my self-worth. No, it's not. Yeah, so, and I kept a record of all of them. Like, look, this one I got 1540. Dang, dang, dang. You know, it's good and bad. Have I shown you anything? Yeah, 1540. Snack. My average, I added everything up. My average was actually 1495. I remember I added them up the weekend before the SAT. That's not very, I don't know if it's very constructive. But as I said before, I'm a very practical person. So I added up my average and I told myself, look, you're probably going to get between plus and minus 20. And it actually did happen because I got plus 15 of my average. But yeah, I just did this to give myself realistic expectations. It's not like I was going to be like, oh, I'm aiming for 1600. Are there people aiming for 1600? If you're aiming for 1600, just DM me. I would like to have a conversation with you. Next, Kwani, they are not ending. Okay, number whatever, I don't know, 17. Keep track of all your mistakes. I've said it so that you can. And also, the night before the SAT, this is all I read. The night before the SAT, I just went through like my 2 papers so that I read the mistakes I had made so that I knew not to make them again. Yeah. And then the last one, hey gosh, it's okay to do the SAT more than once. Look, if you fail the SAT the first time or fail, it's okay to do it the second time, the third time. It's fine. Don't let anyone tell you nothing. Beware. There are some schools that will ask you for all your scores. There's some schools that will ask you for a super score. So a super score is like a total of the highest points. So let's say the first time you did it, you got 700 math, 700 verbal. The second time you got 690 verbal, 710 math. You can give them this 700 and this 710. Put it together, 1410. I scratched myself. Last point. Oh my god. Last but not least, any progress is good progress. If you're moving from a 1310 to a 1320, sees you are moving upwards. I always say on this channel, onwards and upwards. You know, any progress is good progress. Don't get discouraged. Don't compare yourself to other people. You got this. You what? You got it. I'm going to end this video here because dead ass I've been talking for the past 40 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to DM me. My Instagram is going to be somewhere on the page, on the screen. What's going on? Feel free to leave a comment down below asking me any SAT related questions. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate all of you. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red juicy subscribe button down there. I'm going to stop now. I've talked too much. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Okay, thanks. Bye.